It's no surprise that the Toronto Raptors have always been underestimated and flat out disrespected by the American media. And I wanted to start this video by showing you a screenshot from the Action Network. And it is an updated NBA title odds list after the NBA trade deadline. And as you can visibly see right here, the Raptors are next to the bottom. And teams like the Mavericks, Nuggets, Jazz, and Sixers can't believe the Sixers are ahead of the Raptors on this list. And this was after the NBA trade deadline. The Raptors had just completed a historic best 15-game win streak, and they were in the 2 seed. But still, the odds were not in their favor, and they are not in the Raptors' favor moving forward, of people not believing that this Raptors team can do it again. And that has pretty much been the narrative of this season. And the fact that I'm coming back to all of you with a part 2 of this series of the American media disrespecting the Toronto Raptors disrespected by the American media. I mean, it is so unfortunate, but it is the reality that exists. And here I am to put a couple of more American media members on blast for their inaccurate depiction of the Toronto Raptors. And I told y'all if part 1 went well, which it did, it went super well. And I thank all of you for that. I would be bringing you a part 2. So without further ado, here is part 2 of the Toronto Raptors disrespected by the American media. Please like this, guys. Share, subscribe to the channel, hit post notifications. I got a lot of great content coming. So you definitely don't want to miss any one of my future videos. Follow me on all my social media channels, all the username handles down in the description box below. And I will say this, if we can help blow up this video and give the Raptors the respect and the justice that they deserve, I will be giving you guys a part 3. If we can get to 3,000 likes on this edition of this segment, I will bring you guys a part 3. And 3,000 likes isn't hard to get, guys, because part 1, I think we're up and over 4,000 likes and counting as of now. So let's get this to 3,000 likes and I will give you a part 3. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And we're going to start by me showing you a clip from Colin Cowherd. And a lot of you know that Colin Cowherd is very opinionated and he's very vocal about how he feels. And this is actually a clip that came after the Raptors won the NBA championship. Let's take a look and hear what Colin Cowherd had to say.
They don't want to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. Toronto won because of injuries. Sorry how that lands in Ottawa. They did. I'm not in the credit business. I'm not giving your team credit. That's Visa. That's what MasterCard's in. I'm in the honesty business. I don't want to use the term luck, so I won't with the Raptors. I will use good fortune. These things had to happen for the Toronto Raptors to win the championship. LeBron had to leave the East. Kyrie Irving had to implode the Celtics. Leading 2-1, Philadelphia's Joel Embiid got hurt and then sick. They needed 4 amazing bounces to beat Philly in Game 7. And the Warriors had to fall apart physically.
Now, yes, Colin Cowherd brings up the obvious where the Raptors, they had the advantage in terms of the Warriors having a ton of injuries to deal with. We know that. But Colin Cowherd clearly goes out of his way to try to downplay what the Raptors accomplished. I mean, he first mentions LeBron having to be out of the East. Then he says Kyrie had to implode the Boston Celtics. Then he says that it took Joel Embiid getting injured then sick. And then he references Kawhi Leonard's Game 7 game-winning shot as one of the luckiest shots ever. And then, of course, he then says that it took the Warriors getting injured for the Raptors to win the championship. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But what I have a problem with this clip is the fact that Colin Cowherd tries so hard to downplay the Raptors' success during the playoffs. We get it. The Raptors had a leg up in that NBA Finals series. But when you start mentioning things leading up to that moment, that to me just screams that you are trying to do everything in your power to discredit and downplay what the Raptors actually accomplished. This is reaching at its finest, folks, and I ain't about it. I'm not about it. This next clip I'm about to show you comes from the guys from the NBA on TNT, and this was actually on NBA opening day. when the world and the NBA was in a much better place, that's for sure. But yeah, in this clip, you're going to see pretty much Charles, Shaq, and Kenny the Jet Smith talk about the Raptors and their chances of repeating as NBA champions. Let's take a look at what the fellas have to say.
Chances that the Raptors repeat.
Oh, zero.
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 Not a chance. You lost your main guy. You lost your main knockdown shooter. You know, Siakam is cool, and, you know, Kyle Lowry is cool, but they're only able to operate when you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard on the court. You know, they don't have the ability to take over the games themselves. Every now and then they can get hot and have big games, but you got to have that main guy there to draw the attention, so your game would be much easier. So the answer to your question is zero.
Well, it's really sad that I'm never going to go to Toronto again. My favorite city in
Not
the world.
necessarily true.
There's no chance we're ever going back.
Well, we're going to get into that discussion in just a moment. Kenny, what do you think? What's the ceiling for the reigning champions?
They could get back to the Eastern Conference Final.
Stop. That was just stupid.
Stop it.
Get back to the
Stop
Eastern
it.
Conference Final.
Stop it.
With who?
Stop it.
So as you can see, Shaq gives us no chance. The only guy who gave us credit here, and I thank you for that, is Kenny the Jet Smith. But after he said that the Raptors could get back to an Eastern Conference Finals, his co-workers, his colleagues laughed at it. I mean, that's just life when you're the Toronto Raptors, I guess. But at least these guys acknowledge the Raptors as a playoff team, because in this next clip we're going to look at, Jacoby forgot the Raptors even existed. Let's take a look.
Jacoby, Reggie just reminded me of something. You did a list of your teams in the Eastern Conference to make the playoffs.
Okay.
The Raptors
hold
weren't included.
Hold on. So now I'm being sabotaged not just by you, but also by Reggie. Oh, you know what I mean? I made a simple mistake. I just forgot about the Raptors, okay?
Moving on here, and the next clip I'm going to show you guys comes from Steven Jackson, who is adamant when saying that Kawhi Leonard basically carried an entire country and carried the Raptors to a championship.
He went to Toronto and basically carried the whole country, a whole organization to the championship.
You know, Toronto got a better record now.
Nobody's ever done that, okay? Nobody's ever done that.
Now, my problem with this is as follows. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard played great basketball for us. Obviously, he was a huge catalyst for the Raptors on their way to winning a championship. But when you give him all the credit, reality check, basketball is a team sport. And let's not forget that other Raptors players had signature playoff moments like Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Pascal Siakam, especially in Game 6 of the NBA Finals when the Raptors clinched the title. So for Steven Jackson to put all of the credit solely on Kawhi, that's just unfair, man. And that just puts a shame to what the Raptors did as a unit. The Raptors did what they did collectively. It helped to have Kawhi, but he is not solely the reason why we won the championship. Got it? In this next clip, here's Jacoby. I really don't understand this guy.
They've got a great record. They've got 2 All-Stars. They've got Pascal Siakam running up and down the floor. They just beat the Pacers by 46 points. But I don't really respect them in the Eastern Conference.
Yo.
There's something about that, and I don't know why. Because would you pick them against the Bucks in the series? Would you pick them against the Celtics in the series? I would not even pick them against the Heat in a series.
And then a guy by the name of Sean Farhan, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right because I've never heard of this dude, gets in on the act.
First of all, the 15-game win streak is against one of the worst schedules we've ever seen in NBA history. Okay, and I'm not trying to belittle winning 15 games. I understand how hard that is to accomplish at any professional level in any sport. I don't care if it's baseball, NBA, it doesn't matter.
Now, this to me is laughable, guys, because he literally contradicts himself with his statement. First, he says that the Raptors' historic win streak came against arguably one of the worst schedules of all time. But then he follows that up by saying, I don't want to take anything away from that. You just did. You just did. These analysts, they're not smart people. And in this final clip I'm going to show you guys, here's Mike Greenberg coming after the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard.
Let me say that directly into that camera. He would not have gotten out of the East if LeBron was still in it. Toronto does not come out of the East. I don't care who they acquire if LeBron James
Kawhi
is
Leonard
still in
has already
Cleveland.
won an MVP in the finals over LeBron, specifically for the defense he played before Kawhi even knew how to play basketball.
Now, let me look into this camera and tell you, Mike Greenberg, there is no chance that the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James and nobody else would have taken down the Toronto Raptors last season with Kawhi Leonard playing the best basketball of his career. And I love what Max said to close out this clip. He said that Kawhi Leonard was containing LeBron in 2014 when Kawhi was still a baby and he hadn't even figured out how to play basketball to his fullest capability yet. And I love how that just quickly shut up Mike Greenberg, because if Kawhi was able to do that many years ago against a LeBron James who did play on the Miami Heat, what do you think Kawhi would have done with that Raptors team last season against a LeBron James, an aging LeBron James, on a Cavs team with guys like me and you on it? Nothing. That's what LeBron would have been able to do. Nothing. History would not have changed. If LeBron's in the East last season, the Raptors still get out of the East, and the Raptors still do what they do with Kawhi Leonard. And that is it, guys. Let me know what you think of this edition. Hit me up in the comment section down below. Again, guys, please drop a like on this video. If we get to 3,000 likes, guess what? You get a part 3. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit those post notifications and follow me on all my social media platforms. Let's keep the conversation rolling on there. And that is going to do it, guys. I got a lot of great videos up and coming on this channel, so you definitely want to keep it locked and loaded on my YouTube channel. Not to mention, my podcast, which drops on Friday, is going to be with an American media member. So maybe I'll ask him about all this and the fact that everybody there seems to always give the Raptors props. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video. Peace out.